The iron gate screamed a rusty protest, its shriek tearing through the long-held quiet of the Blackwood property, a sound that felt like it was ripping through years of accumulated silence. Ethan Cole paused, his hand gripping the cold, flaking metal as he stared ahead. Against the bruised twilight sky, Blackwood Manor stood like a skeletal monument, a dark sentinel guarding secrets that time itself had tried to bury. With a deep breath that fogged in the crisp afternoon air, Ethan pushed forward, the crunch of dead leaves under his boots the only sound in the world. The key in his pocket felt impossibly heavy, a tangible weight of the last 3 months. 3 months since the crash had stolen his parents. 3 months of a hollow ache, a simmering anger, and finally, a single wild impulse that led him to this forgotten corner of the world. The porch timbers groaned a weary complaint as Ethan ascended the steps, his hand shaking almost imperceptibly as he reached for the tarnished brass doorknob. The key turned, a solid click echoed, and the heavy door swung inward with a low, drawn-out moan. The scent of damp earth, decay, and utter neglect washed over him, a physical presence in the air. Ethan blinked, his vision swimming as it adjusted to the gloom. The grand entryway, once a testament to opulence, was now a ghostly ruin. Thick cobwebs clung to the crystal chandelier like funeral shrouds, and dust motes danced like frantic sprites in the weak sunbeams lancing through the filth-caked windows. His gaze fell upon a fractured mirror on the wall. Stepping closer, Ethan stared at his own warped reflection, the deep, dark circles under his eyes a stark testament to a season of grief and sleepless nights. For a fleeting, heart-stopping moment, he thought he saw the shimmering outlines of his parents standing beside him. He blinked hard, and the phantoms were gone. Crack. Ethan spun on his heel, his heart vaulting into his throat. The noise came from the second floor. It was impossible. The real estate agent swore the house had been sealed for decades. Hello? His voice was a thin thread, swallowed by the cavernous silence that answered. With hesitant, deliberate steps, Ethan approached the main staircase. Each tread cried out under his weight, a chorus of groans warning him away. At the landing, a long hallway stretched into darkness, lined with the closed doors of forgotten bedrooms. Another sound reached him, fainter this time, a whisper of a sound, perhaps a stifled sob. Ethan froze, every nerve ending firing. There, at the far end of the hall on the right, a door was slightly ajar, a sliver of light escaping from the crack. He moved towards it, a slow, deliberate stalk, his heart a frantic drum against his ribs. The faded wallpaper peeled away from the plaster in long, curling strips, revealing dark water stains like old bruises. Dust-laden portraits with solemn eyes seemed to track his progress, their gazes cold and accusing. Just a few feet away, he heard it with unnerving clarity. A soft, almost inaudible cry, the unmistakable sound of a child. He pushed the door, and it swung open with a gentle squeak. The room was bathed in the hazy glow of the setting sun filtering through a grimy skylight. Furniture shrouded in white sheets stood like a congregation of ghosts. And then he saw her. Tucked in the far corner, half concealed by an old wardrobe, was a small girl, no older than 5, her hair a tangled mess and her clothes little more than rags. Her large, haunted eyes were fixed on him, a volatile mix of terror and defiance. In her arms she cradled a bundle, a baby. The air rushed from Ethan's lungs, his mind reeling, trying to make sense of the impossible tableau. "Hello," he whispered, his voice a tremor. "It's all right, I won't hurt you." The girl didn't flinch, didn't speak. She only tightened her desperate grip on the infant. Ethan took a careful step forward. She recoiled, pressing herself tighter against the cold wall. "My name is Ethan," he tried again, sinking slowly to his knees. "What's your name?" Silence stretched, then, so quiet, he almost missed it. Lily May. The sound of her own voice seemed to startle her, and she clamped her lips shut as if she'd made a grave error. "Lily May," Ethan repeated, his voice gentle. "That's a very pretty name. You two must be hungry." At the mention of food, a flicker of something, hope, maybe, or raw desperation, ignited in the girl's eyes. "I'll get you something to eat, okay? I promise I'll come right back." Ethan rose slowly, acutely aware of Lily May's gaze tracking his every movement. He descended the stairs, his mind a whirlwind of unanswerable questions. How? How long had they been here? Where were their parents? In the derelict kitchen, he managed to find a few forgotten cans of food, opening a can of soup and pouring it into a bowl he'd scrubbed clean with bottled water. He climbed the stairs again, a knot of fear in his stomach that they might have vanished, but Lily May was right where he'd left her. He set the bowl on the floor and retreated. Lily May approached it like a wary fawn, one hand scooping with the spoon while the other never left the baby. Ethan watched in stunned silence as she ate with a desperate hunger, alternating between swallowing the soup herself and meticulously feeding tiny spoonfuls to the infant. The stark contrast between her own starvation and her profound care for the baby was utterly heartbreaking. When the bowl was empty, Lily May looked up at Ethan, her expression a fragile combination of gratitude and lingering fear. "Lily May," he said gently, "you're safe now. I promise I'll take care of you. But I need to understand what happened. Can you tell me how you got here?" The girl's gaze dropped, her small fingers twisting the fabric of the baby's blanket. For a long moment, Ethan thought she wouldn't speak, but then, in a whisper, she said, "Mommy told me to stay hidden. She said it was dangerous outside, that she would come back for us." A knot formed in Ethan's throat. "When was that, Lily May?" Lily May frowned, a look of deep concentration on her small face. "Many moons ago, before the baby was born." The shock of it hit Ethan like a physical blow. Months. These children had been here for months, alone, abandoned. Looking into the exhausted, frightened faces before him, Ethan knew his life had just been irrevocably altered. Blackwood Manor, the escape he'd sought from his own loss, was now the epicenter of a deeper, more terrifying mystery. A new resolve hardened in his chest as he made a silent vow. He would find the truth behind this impossible situation, and above all, he would protect these children, no matter the cost. As the sun finally dipped below the horizon, casting long, distorted shadows across the room, Ethan Cole understood that his real journey had just begun. The silent manor held secrets he was only starting to grasp, and fate had thrust upon him the duty of unraveling them. The wind began to howl outside, rattling the old window panes in their frames. Lily May flinched, clutching the baby tighter. Ethan moved closer, placing a steadying hand on her shoulder. "It's okay," he murmured, as much to himself as to her. "We're safe here." But as the deep shadows of night consumed Blackwood Manor, Ethan couldn't escape the chilling sensation that something was watching them from the creeping darkness, waiting. The mystery was only beginning to unfold, and he knew the secrets buried within these ancient walls would not surrender easily. With one last look at the now sleeping children, Ethan steeled himself for the long night. The manor might be silent, but its secrets were screaming. Dawn had barely painted the sky when the growl of an engine broke the stillness of the Blackwood property. Ethan, who had kept a fitful watch all night, rushed to the window. His sister Abby's car was winding up the long driveway, churning up a plume of dust. He took the stairs 2 at a time, a wave of relief washing over him. Abby was his rock, the calm center in the storm his life had become, and he needed her now more than ever. "James!" Abby exclaimed as she burst from the car, her eyes wide with concern. "Your message. I came as fast as I could. What's going on?" He pulled her into a fierce hug before answering. "It's better if you see for yourself," he said, leading her into the manor's decaying grandeur. Abby stopped on the threshold, her gaze sweeping the dilapidated hall. "Ethan, what have you done?" she murmured, but she followed him up the stairs. In the attic room, Lily May was awake, cradling the baby. Her eyes widened at the sight of Abby, and she shrank back against the wall. "Oh my God," Abby whispered, her hand flying to her mouth. Ethan knelt beside Lily May. "It's okay," he said softly. "This is my sister Abby. She's a doctor, and she's going to help you and the baby." Lily May's eyes darted between Ethan and Abby, suspicion warring with hope. Abby, shaking off her shock, shifted into her professional mode. "Hello, Lily May," she said, her voice gentle and calm. "May I check on you and the baby?" The girl offered no reply, but didn't pull away as Abby slowly approached. With practiced, careful movements, the doctor began her examination. Ethan watched, his heart a tight knot in his chest. In the stark light of day, the situation felt even more grim and unbelievable. The caked-on dirt, the makeshift clothes, the pervasive stench of neglect. "Lily May," Abby asked softly while checking the baby, "where is your mom?" The girl's small body went rigid, her gaze fixed on a point beyond the walls. "She's coming back," she murmured, a rote recitation. "She promised?" Abby shot a worried glance at Ethan before continuing her work. "Ethan," she called quietly a few minutes later, "can we talk outside?" In the hallway, out of the child's earshot, Abby's professionalism couldn't mask her deep concern. "They're malnourished, Ethan. The baby can't be more than a few weeks old. It's a miracle he's alive." Ethan dragged a hand through his hair, the weight of it all pressing down on him. "What do we do now?" "They need a hospital," Abby stated flatly. "Food, clean clothes, more thorough exams." But when they returned to the room and spoke the word hospital, Lily May became hysterical. "No," she cried, "we can't leave. She won't find us." It took them nearly an hour to soothe her. Realizing that forcing her to a hospital would only inflict more trauma, Abby improvised. "I'll get supplies," she told Ethan. "Make her eat something and try to bathe them. I'll be back as soon as I can." Alone again with the children, Ethan felt a profound sense of inadequacy. Lily May watched him with weary eyes as he heated another can of soup in the makeshift kitchen he was setting up. "You know, Lily May," he said, trying to break the heavy silence, "this house has many stories to tell. Maybe we can explore a bit after you eat. How does that sound?" A brief flicker of curiosity crossed her face, but she remained silent. After the meal, Ethan managed to fill an old tub with warm water. Lily May, though reluctant at first, seemed to relax slightly under his gentle care. It was while he was toweling her hair dry that he saw it, a small tarnished locket on a chain around her neck, nearly lost in the grime. "That's pretty," he commented. "Did your mom give it to you?" Lily May's hand flew to the locket, her eyes welling with tears. She said never to take it off, that it would keep us safe. A chill snaked down Ethan's spine. This was more than a simple case of abandonment. With the children clean, fed, and Lily May calmer, Ethan decided it was time to search. "I'm going to look around the other rooms," he told her. "Will you be okay here for a moment?" Lily May nodded, clutching the sleeping baby. In what looked like the master bedroom, Ethan began sifting through drawers and closets, desperate for any clue. That's when he found it, tucked in the back of a dresser drawer, an old diary, its leather cover cracked and worn. He opened it carefully, reading the elegant script on the first page. "Property of Eleanor Blackwood." Ethan sat on the edge of the dusty bed, completely absorbed. The diary spun a tale of love, profound loss, and deep secrets, secrets that seemed to echo down through the decades. One entry grabbed him. "The locket is the key. It will protect the wearer, but it will also keep them bound. May God forgive me for what I have done, and may those who come after find the strength to break the cycle." The sound of footsteps snapped him back to the present. Abby was back, arms laden with supplies. "I found something," Ethan said, holding up the diary. Abby frowned. "James, we don't have time for ancient mysteries. These children need care now." But as they tended to the baby and Lily May, Eleanor's words haunted Ethan. The locket around Lily May's neck felt heavier, freighted with meaning. That night, with the children finally asleep, they spoke in hushed tones in the kitchen. "We have to call the authorities," Abby insisted. Ethan hesitated. "What if there's more to this story? The diary, the locket, something's wrong, Abby. I feel like if we hand the children over now, we'll never find out the truth." Abby studied his face for a long moment. "James, what are you suggesting?" He took a deep breath. "Give me a week. Let me investigate. Try to understand what's going on. If we don't find anything, we'll call the authorities." Abby was visibly torn, but she finally relented with a nod. 1 week, James. No more than that." As the night deepened, Blackwood Manor held its secrets close. In the attic, Lily May slept, her tiny hand clutching the locket. And Ethan, seated at the kitchen table with Eleanor's diary open before him, knew he was only scratching the surface of a vast and terrifying mystery. It was midnight when he finally went to bed, the riddles of the past swirling in his mind. The coming week promised revelations of long-buried secrets, and Ethan Cole was determined to unearth them, no matter the cost. Dawn found Ethan already awake, his mind a maelstrom of the previous day's discoveries. With Lily May and the baby sleeping under Abby's watchful eye, he resolved to dig deeper into the manor's history. Armed with a flashlight and Eleanor's diary, he started in the basement. The air was thick and damp, cobwebs clinging to his face as he navigated the labyrinth of stacked boxes and sheet-draped furniture. A metallic glint caught his eye. Tucked behind a dusty armoire was a metal trunk. With a grunt of effort, he pulled it out, the screech of its legs echoing off the stone. With trembling hands, he unfastened the rusty latches. A wave of musty air and the scent of old paper met him. Inside was a collection of personal effects: yellowed letters, old photographs, a neatly folded uniform. Ethan picked up a photo, carefully wiping away the grime. His heart seized. A young woman near his own age smiled at the camera. Beside her stood a little girl he instantly recognized as Lily May. He flipped it over. Inscribed on the back was, "Ashley and Lily May, Summer 2020, only 5 years ago." Digging deeper, he found more traces of Ashley's life at the manor. Pay stubs identifying her as a caretaker, letters in a delicate script describing happy days and hopeful plans. But as he progressed through the documents, the tone shifted dramatically. The last letters were frantic, filled with a creeping paranoia. Ashley wrote repeatedly of them, claiming they were after her and Lily May. The final letter, dated just 6 months prior, made Ethan's blood run cold. "If you're reading this, it means I couldn't make it back. Please protect Lily May. The locket is the key. Don't let them find her. The truth is in the walls." Ethan read the letter over and over, his mind spinning. Who were they? And what was this connection to the locket Eleanor had written about? A sharp cry from upstairs shattered his concentration. Lily May. He bolted up the stairs, nearly tripping in his haste. He found Abby in the attic, trying to calm a hysterical Lily May, whose eyes were wide with terror. "Fire!" Lily May screamed, struggling. "It's everywhere!" Ethan knelt by the bed, his hands gently gripping her shoulders. "Lily May, it's all right. There's no fire. You're safe." Slowly, the girl's wild eyes focused on his. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she collapsed against him, sobbing. She said she'd come back," Lily May murmured between ragged breaths, "but the fire took her away." Ethan exchanged a heavy look with Abby. Who Lily May? Who did the fire take away? Mommy Lily May whispered before succumbing to an exhausted sleep. Once she was settled, Ethan showed Abby his findings from the basement. The doctor examined the photos and letters, her concern deepening. "James, this is serious," she said. "If what these letters say is true, these children could be in real danger." Ethan nodded grimly. "We need to find out what happened to Ashley and what she meant by, 'The truth is in the walls.'" Driven by a new urgency, Ethan began a meticulous examination of the manor. He tapped walls, listening for hollow sounds, removed paintings, searching for hidden panels. For hours, his search yielded nothing. It was late afternoon, the sun slanting through the dusty windows, when he saw it, a faint pattern on the study wall, almost invisible beneath the faded wallpaper. His heart hammered as he carefully peeled back a corner. As more of the wall was exposed, strange symbols and diagrams came into view, words in a language he didn't recognize intertwined with complex drawings. "Abby," he called, his voice tight with a mixture of excitement and dread, "you need to see this." As the siblings stared at the uncovered wall, Lily May appeared in the doorway, the baby in her arms. Her eyes widened at the sight of the symbols. "The protection circle," she murmured, her voice strangely distant. "Mommy said it would keep us safe." Ethan turned to her, stunned. "Lily May, do you know what this is?" The girl nodded slowly. "Mommy said it was ancient magic, that as long as we stayed inside the circle, they couldn't find us." Ethan and Abby exchanged looks of disbelief. Magic? Protection circles? It sounded insane. Yet, after everything they'd witnessed, they couldn't dismiss it. "Who are they, Lily May?" Ethan asked gently. "Who was your mom afraid of?" Lily May hugged the baby tighter, fresh tears welling in her eyes. "The men in black," she whispered. "They want the locket. Mommy said we should never let them have it." At that exact moment, as if on cue, a cold draft snaked through the manor, rattling the windows. The shadows seemed to elongate, and Ethan felt the unnerving prickle of being watched. Abby, ever the pragmatist, broke the tense silence. "That's enough for today. We all need rest and time to process what we found." But as they settled in for another night in the haunted manor, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling they were only at the edge of something far bigger and far more dangerous than they could possibly comprehend. The locket around Lily May's neck seemed to emit a faint, pulsing glow in the twilight, a silent testament to mysteries yet to be solved and dangers that might be lurking just beyond the veil. Night fell upon Blackwood Manor, bringing with it an oppressive stillness. Ethan, unable to sleep, found himself once again poring over Eleanor's diary by candlelight, the yellowed pages seeming to pulse with secrets in the flickering glow. With a deep sigh, he dived back into Eleanor's words. March 20th, 1985. Ashley arrived today. So young, so full of life. She has no idea of the burden this house carries, but there's something about her, a strength, a resilience. Perhaps I've finally found someone trustworthy. Ethan frowned, the date making no sense. The Ashley from the photos couldn't have been here in 1985. Intrigued, he kept reading. April 15th, 1985. The locket called to Ashley today. I saw the spark in her eyes when she touched it. The lineage is strong in her, even if she doesn't know it. I must protect her from what's coming, but how can I when I scarcely understand it myself? The subsequent entries chronicled a growing bond between Eleanor and Ashley. The young caretaker seemed to bring a light into Eleanor's shadowed life, but there was always an undercurrent of apprehension, a secret hanging between them. September 7th, 1985. The fire came again in my dreams. I see Ashley engulfed in flames, the locket shining around her neck. Is history repeating itself? I can't allow it. Not this time. Ethan shivered. Fire. Lily May had screamed about fire in her nightmares. What was the connection? Turning the page, he found an entry that made his heart race. November 1st, 1985. It's done. The protection ritual was carried out. Ashley now carries not only the locket, but the burden of generations. May God forgive me for what I've done, but it was the only way to break the cycle. The manor will protect her as well as anyone who comes after her. But the price? Oh, the price is terrible. The following pages were tear-stained, Eleanor's handwriting growing wild and erratic. She wrote of guilt, sacrifice, and a curse passed down through generations. The final entry made Ethan gasp. December 10th, 1985. Ashley left today, taking with her the locket and the future of the Blackwood lineage. My heart breaks to see her go, but I know it's necessary. The manor will call her back when the time is right. Until then, may she live free of the burden I now carry alone. To you who will one day read these words, protect Ashley and her descendants. The locket is both blessing and curse. The fire will come again, but maybe this time we can finally extinguish it. May God have mercy on our souls." Ethan slammed the diary shut, his mind reeling. The story Eleanor told was fantastical, impossible. Yet, after everything he'd seen, he couldn't dismiss it. A soft sound made him turn. Lily May stood in the doorway, the locket glowing faintly on her chest. "I can't sleep," she murmured, her large eyes luminous in the half-light. Ethan managed a gentle smile, extending his hand. "Come on, let's make some hot chocolate." In the makeshift kitchen, Ethan prepared the drink while Lily May watched with quiet curiosity. The silence between them was comfortable, a stark contrast to the tension of the previous days. "You know," Ethan began softly, handing Lily May a steaming mug, "my mom used to make hot chocolate for me when I had nightmares." Lily May took a cautious sip, her eyes widening at the sweetness. "Your mom, she left too?" Ethan felt a lump form in his throat. "Yes, she and my dad. They had an accident." Lily May studied him for a long moment. "Do you feel sad, like I do?" "Yes," Ethan admitted, "but it's okay to be sad sometimes. What matters is remembering the happy moments, too." Lily May nodded slowly, as if absorbing a great truth. "Mommy and I had happy times here," she said quietly. Before the fire." Ethan hesitated, not wanting to push but needing to understand. "Lily May, can you tell me about the fire?" The girl shuddered, gripping her mug. "It happened so fast," she whispered. "Mommy woke me in the middle of the night. There was screaming, smoke everywhere. She gave me the locket and told me to run to the attic, not to leave until she came back." Tears began to slide down her cheeks. But she never came back. Ethan's heart broke. Gently, he pulled Lily May into a hug, letting her cry against his shoulder. "It's okay," he murmured. "You're safe now." When her sobs finally subsided, she pulled away, looking at Ethan with a mix of gratitude and uncertainty. You're not going to leave too, are you?" The question caught him by surprise. In that moment, Ethan realized the depth of the trust Lily May was placing in him. The responsibility was immense, but it also filled him with a profound warmth. "No, Lily May," he promised, "I'm not going anywhere. We'll figure this out together, okay?" Lily May nodded, a tiny smile touching her lips. It was the first time Ethan had seen her smile, and the sight solidified his resolve. As the night deepened, Ethan reflected on all he'd learned. Eleanor's diary, Lily May's memories, the mysterious locket, all tangled in an ever-widening conspiracy. But now, with Lily May's fragile trust as his anchor, he knew he couldn't give up. Whatever secrets Blackwood Manor held, whatever danger the men in black posed, Ethan was determined to protect this child and uncover the truth. Midnight chimed as he finally led Lily May back to her bed. Watching her drift to sleep, the locket glowing faintly on her chest, Ethan made a silent vow. He would find out what happened to Ashley, to Eleanor, and to the curse that haunted this house. Above all, he would keep Lily May safe, no matter the cost. Dawn found Ethan already up, determined to unearth more secrets of Blackwood Manor. With Lily May and the baby in Abby's capable hands, he decided to explore an area he had neglected, the servants' quarters. The narrow hallway leading to the servants' rooms was covered in spider webs. Ethan pushed open a rusted door, which yielded with a foreboding groan. The small, austere room held 2 single beds and a worn wardrobe. Opening the wardrobe revealed his first discovery of the day. Hidden beneath loose floorboards was a shoebox. Inside, he found a bundle of yellowed letters tied with a faded ribbon. Heart pounding, Ethan untied the ribbon and picked up the first letter. "Dear Ashley, I know I promised not to contact you again, but things are getting worse. They're getting closer. The locket is not safe here. You must take it to the manor. It's the only place where it will be protected. Please be careful. They'll do anything to get it. With love, MC Ethan frowned. M? Who could it be? And why was the locket so important? He read on, each letter more urgent than the last. The final one, dated just a few months ago, made his blood run cold. Ashley, they found out. There's no more time. Take Lily May and the locket to the manor. Now. Activate the protection circle. It's our only hope. Trust no one. Ethan carefully replaced the letters, his mind racing with new information. Clearly, Ashley and Lily May hadn't hidden in the manor by chance. But who were they, and why was the locket so crucial? Determined to find more answers, Ethan continued searching the room. That's when he noticed something odd. One of the floorboards looked slightly out of place. Carefully, he pried it open, revealing a small secret compartment. Inside, he found a black notebook and a flash drive. The notebook was filled with cryptic notes and complex diagrams. Ethan recognized some of the symbols from the study walls. There were mentions of ancient rituals, energy lines, and something called the Convergence. Anxious to see what was on the flash drive, Ethan ran to the laptop he'd brought, but his excitement soon turned to frustration. The files were password protected. Exhausted but filled with new questions, Ethan decided to take a break. Heading back to the kitchen, he found Lily May sitting at the table, drawing. "Hey there, kiddo," he said, taking a seat next to her. "What are you drawing?" Lily May hesitated a moment before showing him the sketch. A female figure surrounded by flames, something bright at her neck. It's Mommy," she whispered, tears filling her eyes. Ethan's heart clenched. Gently, he placed a hand on Lily May's shoulder. "Do you want to tell me about her?" Lily May remained silent for so long, Ethan thought she wouldn't reply. But then, quietly, she began to speak. "It was on a stormy night," she said, her eyes fixed on the drawing. "Mommy was agitated, looking out the window the whole time. Then we heard a noise outside. Ethan listened intently, careful not to interrupt Lily May's flow of memories. Mommy held me tight and said she loved me. She put the locket around my neck and told me never to take it off. Then she went out." Lily May lifted her gaze, meeting Ethan's eyes. I waited a long time, but she never came back." Ethan fought back tears. "Lily May, did you see or hear anything after your mom left?" The girl frowned, concentrating. "I heard voices. Men's voices. They sounded angry. Then there was a bright flash like lightning. After that, just silence." Ethan absorbed this, his mind working furiously. Ashley's disappearance was looking more mysterious and potentially dangerous with every detail. "Lily May," he said softly, "do you know what's so special about that locket?" The girl touched the object at her neck, a gesture Ethan noticed was almost unconscious. "Mommy said it was our protection, that as long as I had it, I'd be safe." At that moment, Abby entered the kitchen, carrying the baby. She gave Ethan a worried look, clearly sensing the tension in the room. "Is everything okay?" she asked. Ethan forced a smile. "Yes, we were just talking. Lily May, why don't you go play for a bit while I talk to Abby?" After Lily May left, Ethan quickly filled his sister in on his discoveries. "James," Abby said, her voice heavy with concern, "this is getting bigger than we expected. Maybe we should call the authorities." But Ethan shook his head. "Not yet. Something's going on, Abby. Something bigger than a missing mother. We need to understand before we involve more people." Abby didn't look convinced, but she nodded reluctantly. "A week, James. That's what we agreed." As the afternoon wore on, Ethan returned to the study, determined to decode the files on the flash drive. Hours passed as he tried different combinations, consulting the black notebook for clues. It was nearly midnight, his eyes burning with fatigue, when inspiration struck. Typing convergence as the password, Ethan held his breath. The file opened. A series of documents, photos, and videos appeared on the screen. Ethan clicked the first video, his hand trembling slightly. Ashley's face filled the screen. She looked terrified, constantly glancing over her shoulder. "If you're seeing this," she began, her voice shaky, "it means I couldn't make it back. Lily May has the locket now. Keep her safe. The convergence is coming. and they'll do anything to stop it. Remember, the truth is in the walls. The circle must be completed." The video ended abruptly, leaving Ethan in stunned silence. As the night fell over Blackwood Manor, he knew he had just taken a crucial step toward the truth. But with that truth came the realization that the danger was much more real and imminent than he could have imagined. Morning arrived with a dense fog enveloping Blackwood Manor. Ethan, who had barely slept after the night's revelations, was in the kitchen making coffee when he heard it. A knock at the door, firm, insistent. His body tensed immediately. No one but Abby knew they were here. With caution, he approached the front door, peering through the side window. A woman stood on the porch. Her neatly coiffed gray hair and expensive clothes gave her a dignified appearance, yet something in her eyes made Ethan hesitate. Taking a deep breath, he opened the door. "Can I help you?" he asked, keeping his tone neutral. The woman looked him up and down, a slight frown on her well-groomed face. "I'm Lorraine Blackwood," she said, her voice carrying a faint, clipped accent. "I'm looking for my granddaughter." Ethan's heart pounded, but he kept his composure. "I'm sorry, but there aren't any children here. I just bought this place and—" "Please," Lorraine interrupted, her voice softening. "I know she's here, Lily May and the baby. They're all I have left of my daughter." Ethan hesitated. Her story matched what they knew, but something felt off. Before he could reply, he heard a muffled cry behind him. Lily May stood at the foot of the stairs, her eyes wide with terror at the sight of Lorraine. The baby in her arms began to wail. "Lily May, dear," Lorraine exclaimed, trying to step past Ethan. "I finally found you." But Lily May backed away, clutching the baby to her chest. "No," she shouted. "Go away." Ethan blocked the entrance with his body. "I think it's best if you leave," he said firmly. Lorraine glared at him, a mixture of anger and something else, desperation, burning in her eyes. "You don't understand. They're in danger. I need to take them somewhere safe." "Who are they?" Ethan asked, recalling the letters he'd found. For a moment, Lorraine looked uncertain. Then, recovering, she said, "The men who killed my daughter, of course. Please, let me in. I can explain everything." Ethan was about to refuse when Abby appeared, drawn by the commotion. "What's going on?" she asked, putting a protective arm around Lily May. Lorraine seized the distraction to step forward. "I'm the grandmother of these children. I've come to take them." Abby glanced at Ethan, who subtly shook his head. Something wasn't right. "Ms. Blackwood," Ethan said calmly, "I understand your concern, but as you can see, the children are safe here. Perhaps we can talk outside." Lorraine hesitated, her gaze locked on Lily May and the baby. For a moment, Ethan saw a nearly predatory expression flash across her face. Then she nodded stiffly. "5 minutes," she said. "After that, I'll call the authorities." Ethan followed Lorraine into the yard, casting a reassuring look at Abby and Lily May. Out of the children's earshot, he turned to the woman. "Now why don't you tell me the truth?" he asked bluntly. Lorraine stared at him, all traces of politeness gone. "You have no idea what you're dealing with, young man. That locket Lily May wears, it's more valuable and dangerous than you can imagine." Ethan felt a chill. "How do you know about the locket?" A cold smile curved Lorraine's lips. "Oh, I know far more than that. I know about the convergence, about the rituals, about the power that little trinket holds." "Who are you, really?" Ethan demanded, his voice low and threatening. Lorraine shrugged, as though the question were irrelevant. "Someone who has pursued that locket longer than you've been alive. Ashley was clever. She managed to evade us for years. But now—" "Now what?" Ethan pressed, sensing the danger in her words. "Now the convergence approaches," Lorraine said, her eyes shining with an almost fanatical light. "The locket's power will reach its peak, and we will have it, with or without your cooperation." Ethan took a step forward, his voice filled with menace. "You're not getting near those children." Lorraine laughed, a cold, humorless sound. "Oh, my dear boy, do you really think you can stop us? We have resources you can't even imagine." Before Ethan could respond, a scream came from the house. "Lily May?" He turned and ran, his heart hammering in his chest. At the door, he saw Abby struggling with two men dressed in black while a third tried to grab Lily May. With a roar of rage, Ethan launched himself at the nearest attacker. The element of surprise was on his side, and he managed to knock the man down. Abby, seizing the distraction, kicked the other man, making him stagger. "Lily May, run!" Ethan shouted, blocking the path of the third assailant. The girl didn't hesitate. Holding the baby, she bolted up the stairs. The fight that followed was brutal and quick. Ethan and Abby, fueled by adrenaline and the need to protect the children, managed to overpower their attackers. When it was over, the three men lay unconscious on the living room floor. Lorraine had vanished. Ethan, panting and sporting a cut on his lip, looked at Abby. "Are you okay?" She nodded, pale, a bruise already forming on her cheek. The kids. Together they raced upstairs, calling for Lily May. They found her huddled in the attic, shaking but unharmed. While Abby comforted the children, Ethan glanced out the window. In the distance, he saw a black car speeding away. Reality slammed into him. This was no longer just a mystery to solve. This was a fight, and the stakes were higher than he ever could have imagined. Turning back to his sister and the children, Ethan made a decision. We have to leave. Now. The sun was beginning to set when they left Blackwood Manor, unsure of what the future held, but determined to protect the secret they now knew they carried. As he drove down the dark road, Ethan glanced at the manor in the rearview mirror. For a moment, he could have sworn he saw a figure in the attic window, watching them leave. The battle had only just begun. The roadside motel wasn't ideal, but it offered the anonymity they needed. Ethan stood by the foggy window, his eyes scanning the empty parking lot for any suspicious movement. Behind him, Abby tried to calm a restless Lily May and a crying baby. "Shh, it's all right," Abby murmured, rocking the baby, but her eyes, meeting Ethan's, told a different story. 3 days had passed since their hasty escape from Blackwood Manor, 3 days of back roads, constant vigilance, and sleepless nights. Ethan moved away from the window, running a hand over his tired face. "How are they?" he asked quietly. Abby sighed, placing the now sleeping baby into a makeshift crib. "Physically, they're okay? But emotionally?" She paused, throwing a worried glance at Lily May, who sat curled in the corner, arms around her knees. "James, these kids have been through severe trauma. Lily May barely speaks and has constant nightmares. And the baby? He cries at the slightest noise. Ethan felt guilt pressing down on him. He wanted to protect them, but instead he seemed to be dragging them into more danger. "What do we do now?" Abby asked, her voice filled with exhaustion and worry. Before Ethan could answer, his phone vibrated. An unknown number. His heart pounded as he answered. "Mr. Cole," a cold voice said on the other end, "I trust you're enjoying your little trip." Ethan felt the blood drain from his face. "Who is this? What do you want?" A humorless laugh. "What we want is simple. The locket, hand it over, and we'll leave you and your adopted family in peace." "And if I refuse?" Ethan challenged, trying to keep his voice steady. A pause for effect. "Then I'm afraid we can't guarantee anyone's safety. Not your sister, not the children, not yours." The call ended abruptly, leaving Ethan stunned. "Who was it?" Abby asked, noting his expression. Ethan hesitated, not wanting to heighten the fear already in the room. But Abby deserved to know. He quickly recounted the threat. "God, James," she whispered, horrified. "This is insane. We have to go to the police." But Ethan shook his head. "And say what? That we're being chased because of a magical locket? That a woman claiming to be a grandmother tried to kidnap the children? Without solid proof, we'll sound crazy." Abby seemed ready to argue, but was interrupted by a sharp cry. Lily May, jolted by another nightmare, stared at them with terrified eyes. While Abby hurried to comfort the girl, Ethan made a decision. They couldn't keep hopping from motel to motel. The children needed stability, safety. "We're going back," he announced. Abby looked at him as though he'd gone mad. "Back? To the manor, Ethan? That's exactly what they'll expect." "Exactly," Ethan nodded. "It's the last place they'd look for us. Besides, remember what we found on the walls? The protection circle. If there's any truth to all of this, that's where we'll be safest." Abby still looked unconvinced, but Lily May's sobbing and the baby's whimpers were powerful arguments. Reluctantly, she agreed. The next morning, they set off. Ethan drove, constantly checking the rearview mirror. Abby sat in the back seat, keeping the children close. The drive back was tense. Every passing car seemed a potential threat. Every stop for gas or a bathroom break was a calculated risk. It was near nightfall when real danger showed itself. A black SUV appeared out of nowhere, pulling up alongside them on the deserted road. "Ethan!" Abby yelled as she saw the vehicle closing in dangerously. Ethan slammed his foot on the gas, the engine protesting. The SUV advanced, trying to force them off the road. "Hang on!" Ethan shouted, making a risky maneuver. The car skidded, turning onto a dirt road. The SUV followed, kicking up a cloud of dust. In the rearview mirror, Ethan could see men in black in the back seat. Lily May was crying, the baby screaming. Abby tried to soothe them while bracing herself against the car door. That's when Ethan saw it. An old, narrow bridge over a raging river up ahead. "Abby," he yelled over the roar of the engine, "when I say now, get down and shield the kids!" He pressed the accelerator harder, the SUV almost touching their rear bumper. The bridge loomed closer. Now! Ethan jerked the wheel. The car fishtailed, skidding sideways across the bridge. For a terrifying moment, two wheels hung over the edge of the abyss. The SUV, caught off guard, tried to brake, but the dirt road betrayed its traction. With a thunderous crash, the vehicle slammed the bridge's side, breaking the barrier and plunging into the river below. Ethan finally brought the car to a halt, his fingers white-knuckled on the steering wheel. "Everyone okay?" he managed, voice shaking. Abby nodded, pale, the children clinging to her. For long minutes they stayed there, gasping for breath, listening only to the sound of rushing water below and Lily May's muffled sobs. Finally, Ethan started the car again. "Let's go," he said softly. "We're almost home." As they drove away from the scene, night's shadows seemed to close in around them. Blackwood Manor awaited, with its own darkness and secrets. But at least there, Ethan thought, they had a fighting chance. A chance to discover the truth, and maybe, just maybe, a chance for peace. The locket around Lily May's neck glowed faintly in the darkness, as though answering unspoken thoughts. The battle was far from over. In fact, it had barely begun. Blackwood Manor loomed before them, dark and imposing against the night sky. Ethan switched off the engine, the sudden silence almost deafening after hours of frantic driving. "Home, sweet home," he muttered, his voice void of humor. Abby, in the back seat, still held the sleeping children. "Are you sure about this, James?" she asked, worry evident in her eyes. He nodded, resolute. "It's our best shot." Carefully, they entered the manor. The air was thick with dust and untold secrets. Ethan quickly checked each room, ensuring they were alone. "I'll put the kids to bed," Abby whispered, heading upstairs with Lily May and the baby in her arms. Alone in the entry hall, Ethan felt the weight of all they had been through. His eyes roamed the walls, lingering on the old portraits of the Blackwood family. Generations of solemn faces stared back as though judging his presence. That's when he noticed something strange. One of the portraits was slightly askew. Intrigued, Ethan stepped closer. On touching the frame, he felt something move behind it. Gently, he removed the painting from the wall. Hidden in a recess behind it was a worn leather folder. Ethan's heart raced. With trembling hands, he opened the folder, revealing a stack of old documents. As he read, his eyes widened in surprise and horror. Letters, financial records, even newspaper clippings. Together they formed a tale of betrayal, greed, and family disputes going back generations. One letter in particular caught his eye. Dear Eleanor, you must understand that what we do is for the greater good. The locket cannot fall into the wrong hands. The Blackwood lineage has borne this burden for centuries, and now it's up to you to protect it. I'm sorry this means severing ties with your sister, but Lorraine has proven untrustworthy. Her obsession with the locket's power blinds her to the danger it represents. Remember always, the circle must remain unbroken. With love, your father. Ethan felt a cold shiver run down his spine. Lorraine? The same Lorraine who had shown up days earlier, claiming to be Lily May's grandmother. The pieces of the puzzle were coming together, and the image was disturbing. Ethan, Abby's voice broke into his thoughts. I found something in Lily May's room. He followed her to the bedroom, where Lily May sat on the bed, holding the locket. Her eyes were distant, as though reliving painful memories. Lily May? Honey, Abby said gently, can you tell Ethan what you told me? The girl hesitated, her fingers nervously fiddling with the locket's chain. At last, in a quiet voice, she began. It was the night of the storm. Mommy was scared, always looking out the window. Then she came. Who came, Lily May? Ethan asked softly. The bad woman, Lorraine. Lily May's eyes filled with tears. She was yelling at Mommy, saying the locket belonged to her. Mommy hid me in the closet, told me not to make a sound. Ethan and Abby exchanged worried looks. What happened then? He gently urged. Lily May trembled. There was a loud noise like thunder. When I came out, Mommy was gone, and Lorraine was there, looking for something. She didn't see me, so I ran to the attic with the baby. Ethan felt a wave of anger and compassion. Kneeling by the bed, he took Lily May's hands in his. You were so brave, Lily May. Thank you for telling us. While Abby comforted the girl, Ethan returned to the hall, his mind racing with new information. Lorraine wasn't just a current threat. She'd been part of an ancient family feud centered on the mysterious locket. Determined to find more clues, Ethan began a systematic search of every room in the manor. In the study, concealed behind a bookshelf, he made his most startling discovery: a safe. After hours of trying different combinations and recalling all the clues he'd gathered, Ethan finally heard the satisfying click of the lock disengaging. Inside was a single document, Eleanor Blackwood's will. Heart pounding, Ethan read, I, Eleanor Blackwood, being of sound mind, leave all my possessions, including this manor and its contents, to Ashley Durand and her descendants. The locket, our ancestral burden, must remain with the chosen lineage. Ashley has proven worthy of this legacy. My sister, Lorraine Blackwood, is explicitly forbidden from claiming any portion of this inheritance. Her lust for the locket's power poses a threat to us all. May the circle remain unbroken. May the convergence find the guardians prepared. Ethan let the document fall, stunned by its implications. Ashley, Lily May's mother, was the rightful heir. Whatever powers the locket held, it belonged to Lily May by right. But with that right came a danger Ethan could only begin to comprehend. Returning to the bedroom, he found Abby asleep beside Lily May, the baby dozing peacefully in a makeshift crib. Ethan looked at the scene, feeling the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. They were no longer just fugitives. They were guardians of an ancient legacy, protectors of a secret many would kill to possess. The locket around Lily May's neck glowed faintly in the darkness, as though echoing Ethan's unspoken thoughts. Outside, the wind howled, reflecting the turmoil of the past and the threats of the future. Ethan knew the real battle was only beginning. Lorraine and her allies would return, that was certain. But now, armed with knowledge of the past and a resolve to protect Lily May and the Blackwood legacy, Ethan was ready to face whatever lay ahead. The old manor creaked and groaned in the rising wind, as if preparing for the coming storm. Within its ancient walls, centuries-old secrets intertwined with the fate of a little girl and a seemingly ordinary pendant. The past had returned, bringing with it long, menacing shadows. But in the darkness of the night, A faint light of hope shone, dim yet steadfast, and Ethan Cole vowed to do everything he could to keep it burning. Dawn found Abby in the Manor's old library, surrounded by dusty books and faded documents. Her eyes burned from a sleepless night, but determination shone bright in them. While Ethan tended to the children, she had immersed herself in the Blackwood family archives, searching for anything that might help them understand the mystery surrounding them. It was as the first rays of sunlight broke through the grimy library window that Abby made a disturbing find. Hidden among the pages of an old scrapbook, she noticed a sealed envelope. With trembling hands, she opened it, revealing a series of old photographs. As she examined them, her face paled. The images depicted strange rituals, bizarre symbols drawn on the floor, and at the center of everything, the very same locket now resting on Lily May's chest. But what truly chilled her was the last photo. In it, a woman bearing an uncanny resemblance to Lorraine stood over a fallen figure, the locket gleaming in her hand. "James," she called, her voice quivering. "You need to see this." Moments later, Ethan entered the library, exhaustion etched into his features. "What's going on?" he asked, noticing Abby's alarmed expression. Wordlessly, she handed him the photos. Ethan flipped through them, his face growing more grim with each one. "This confirms our suspicions," he muttered. "Lorraine isn't just some power-hungry relative. She's involved in something far more sinister." Abby nodded gravely. "James, what are we going to do? These children are caught in the middle of something we barely understand." Before he could answer, a shrill scream echoed through the manor. "Lily May!" Both siblings bolted toward the bedroom where the children were, finding Lily May sitting up in bed, wide-eyed and tearful. "Lily May, sweetie, what is it?" Abby asked gently, sitting beside the girl and wrapping her in a comforting hug. Between sobs, Lily May began talking, her words tumbling out in a frantic rush. I saw her again. The bad woman. She was in my dream, but it wasn't just a dream. It was a memory. She hurt Mommy." Ethan knelt in front of her, his voice calm but firm. "Lily May, can you tell us exactly what you saw?" The girl squeezed her eyes shut, as though trying to block out the images. Slowly, she described it. It was night, raining hard. Mommy and I were in the attic. She was drawing strange things on the floor, saying words I didn't understand. The locket was glowing. Lily May paused, trembling. Abby hugged her tighter, encouraging her to go on. Then the door burst open. It was her, Lorraine. She was screaming at Mommy, saying the locket belonged to her. There was a blinding light, and... Lily May's voice faltered, but Ethan gently prodded. "It's all right, Lily May. You're safe here." Taking a shaky breath, the girl finished. Mommy fell. She wasn't moving. Lorraine took the locket and tried to grab me, but then something happened. The locket shone even brighter and flew out of her hand, right back to me. Ethan and Abby exchanged significant looks. The pieces of the puzzle were fitting together. "Lily May," Ethan said gently, "you did something very brave by telling us. Thank you." While Abby stayed to comfort Lily May, Ethan returned to the library, his mind buzzing with the newest revelations. He spread out all their evidence, documents, photos, and notes, across a table. Eleanor's will, old letters, pictures of the rituals, the mysterious diary, everything pointed to one unavoidably clear conclusion. Ethan started drawing connections, talking aloud to himself. The locket is the key to everything. It's been passed down for generations in the Blackwood family. Eleanor entrusted it to Ashley, skipping over Lorraine. But Lorraine desperately wanted it. He paused, a new insight forming. The ritual in the attic. Ashley must have been trying to protect Lily May and the locket, but Lorraine interrupted, resulting in what? Ashley's death? Her disappearance? Ethan pressed on, the puzzle coming together quickly. But the locket chose Lily May. Why? What makes Lily May special? And why couldn't Lorraine just take it back? He glanced at Eleanor's diary, rereading crucial passages. The circle must remain unbroken. The convergence is coming. The locket is both blessing and curse. Suddenly, Ethan had a flash of understanding. He rushed back to the bedroom where Abby was still consoling Lily May. "The circle," he exclaimed. "Lily May, you said your mom was drawing on the floor? Was it a circle?" Lily May nodded slowly. "Yes, a big circle with weird symbols." Ethan felt a rush of excitement. The protection circle. That's why Lorraine couldn't get the locket. It's why she can't enter the manor unless invited. Abby looked confused. "James, what are you talking about?" He sat down, trying to organize his thoughts. "Think about it. All the clues point to some kind of mystical power associated with the locket and the Blackwood lineage. The protection circle, mentioned over and over, must be some barrier of sorts. Ashley must have activated the circle that night," he continued. "When Lorraine interfered, something went wrong. But the circle still did its job. It protected Lily May and made the locket choose her as its new guardian." Abby seemed skeptical, but she couldn't deny the logic in Ethan's theory. But that still doesn't explain where Ashley is, or why these people are so desperate to have the locket. Ethan nodded gravely. "You're right. There's more. All the references to the convergence, I think it's some kind of event, something important enough for Lorraine to risk everything to get the locket first." Lily May, who had been silently listening, spoke up suddenly. "Mommy talked about it. The convergence. She said it was when the stars lined up and the veil between worlds got thin." Ethan and Abby turned to the girl, startled. It was the first time Lily May had spoken so freely about her mother's teachings. "Lily May," Ethan asked gently, "do you know when it's supposed to happen?" The girl frowned, thinking hard. "Mommy said it would be when the moon turned red, like blood." Abby gasped. "The lunar eclipse. It's scheduled for 3 days from now." Ethan stood abruptly, a new urgency in his movements. "We have to prepare. Lorraine and her allies will come, I'm sure. And when they do, we have to be ready." As the sun rose higher in the sky, casting long shadows through the manor's corridors, the 4 residents braced themselves for the crucial days ahead. Secrets had been unveiled, yet many mysteries remained. What really happened to Ashley? What was the true power of the locket? And what would happen when the convergence finally arrived? With time running out and danger closing in, Ethan, Abby, Lily May, and the baby found themselves at the center of a supernatural storm where past and present collided, and the fate of far more than just their own lives was at stake. The relentless ticking of the old grandfather clock echoed through the silent halls of Blackwood Manor. Ethan, seated in the dusty library, flipped frantically through Eleanor's diary, searching for any clue he might have missed. Abby entered quietly, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "Any progress?" she asked, handing 1 cup to Ethan. He sighed, rubbing his tired eyes. "Maybe. There's something here, a mention of a hidden vault, but I can't decipher where exactly." Abby leaned in, studying the page Ethan indicated. Eleanor's flowing script danced across the page. "True treasure lies not in gold or jewels, but in the legacy we leave behind. May the key to the future be safeguarded where past and present meet, where the morning light first touches the heart of the house." "The heart of the house?" Abby murmured thoughtfully. What could that mean? Ethan jumped to his feet, an idea sparking. The stained glass window in the main entrance. Remember how it glows when the sun rises? With renewed urgency, the two rushed to the entry hall. The grand stained glass window, depicting the Blackwood family tree, dominated the wall above the door. "There!" Abby exclaimed, pointing to a tiny symbol, almost invisible at the base of the tree. Ethan moved closer, examining the symbol. It was a miniature keyhole, cleverly hidden in the design. "The locket," he whispered. "It must be the key." At that moment, Lily May appeared at the top of the stairs, the locket faintly glowing at her chest. "What are you guys doing?" she asked, still groggy. Ethan turned to her, a gentle smile on his face. "Lily May, sweetheart, can we see your locket for a moment? I think we found something important." Hesitant, the girl descended the stairs, her eyes flicking between Ethan and Abby, a mix of trust and apprehension. Carefully, Ethan removed the locket from Lily May's neck and inserted it into the tiny keyhole. With a soft click, a hidden mechanism engaged. Slowly, a section of the panel slid aside, revealing a secret compartment. Inside lay an ornate wooden box and a sealed envelope. Ethan carefully lifted them out, feeling the weight of history in his hands. Gathered in the library, Ethan opened the envelope with care. Abby's voice trembled slightly as she read it aloud. My dearest Ashley, if you are reading this, it means the time has come. The burden I've carried for so many years now passes to you. From the day you arrived at this house, a frightened young woman seeking refuge, I knew there was something special about you. Not by blood, but by the strength of your character and the purity of your heart, the locket chose you, Ashley. And with it comes a responsibility greater than you can imagine. The Blackwood lineage has guarded this secret for generations, shielding the world from forces most people never dream of. The convergence approaches, a time when the veil between worlds grows thin and ancient powers threaten to awaken. The locket is the key to maintaining that balance. My own sister, Lorraine, yielded to the lure of the locket's power. That is why I must entrust it to you, you who bear no Blackwood blood but have the heart of a true guardian. With this letter, I leave you not only the locket, but everything I possess. The manor, the lands, the Blackwood legacy, all belong to you and your descendants. Protect the locket, protect the secret, and above all, protect yourself and those who come after you. With all my love and faith, Eleanor Blackwood. A heavy silence hung in the room after Abby finished reading. Lily May, who had listened intently, clutched the baby closer, her wide eyes reflecting understanding. Ethan was the first to speak. Lily May, he said softly, do you know what this means? The girl nodded slowly. The manor, it's mine. Not just the manor, Abby explained gently. Everything that belonged to Eleanor now belongs to you. You are the true heir to the Blackwood legacy. Lily May looked at the locket around her neck with a mixture of awe and fear. But why me? Ethan knelt beside her, his eyes meeting hers. Because your mother was special, Lily May. And so are you. Eleanor saw that in Ashley, and now we can all see it in you. Abby opened the wooden box, finding a set of legal documents. It's all here, she said, scanning the papers. Property deeds, bank accounts, everything transferred to Ashley and by extension to Lily May. Ethan nodded, his mind racing. That explains why Lorraine is so desperate. She doesn't just want the locket, she wants the entire Blackwood estate. But this still doesn't explain the men in black or how they seem to have such vast resources, Abby pointed out. Maybe it does, Ethan mused. If the locket truly has the power Eleanor suggested, imagine what unscrupulous people would do to get it. Lorraine might have allied herself with dangerous forces in her pursuit. Lily May, who had remained silent, suddenly spoke. Mommy knew. She knew they would come. Ethan and Abby turned to her, attentive. What do you mean, Lily May? Abby asked gently. That night? The night she disappeared, Lily May began, her voice trembling. She was preparing something. Drawings on the floor, candles, strange words. She said it was to protect us when the storm arrived. Ethan exchanged a knowing look with Abby. The protection ritual, he murmured. Ashley must have sensed the danger and tried to activate the manor's defenses. But something went wrong, Abby concluded. Lorraine interfered. And now, Mommy is gone, Lily May finished, tears glistening in her eyes. Ethan pulled the girl into a hug, feeling the weight of responsibility. We'll find her, Lily May, I promise, and we'll protect you and the legacy Eleanor and your mom entrusted to you. As evening fell, casting long shadows across the library, the 4 inhabitants of Blackwood Manor faced a revelation that changed everything. Lily May wasn't just a frightened child seeking refuge. She was the heir to an ancient and powerful legacy. With the convergence looming and enemies gathering in the shadows, Ethan knew the coming days would be critical. They would have to unravel the locket's final secrets, complete the protection ritual, and somehow find Ashley. The old clock continued its relentless ticking, a constant reminder that time was running out. But now, armed with Eleanor's truth and the certainty of Lily May's right, they were ready to face whatever came. The battle for the future of the Blackwood lineage was about to begin, and far more than a simple inheritance lay at stake. The night sky was heavy with clouds, hinting at a storm. Inside Blackwood Manor, the tension was palpable. Ethan, Abby, Lily May, and the baby waited in the living room, eyes straying to the windows, anticipating the inevitable. They didn't have to wait long. The screech of tires on the driveway shattered the property's silence. Ethan got to his feet, exchanging a meaningful glance with Abby. "Stay with the children," he muttered. "You know what to do if something goes wrong." Abby nodded, pulling Lily May and the baby closer. Lily May clutched the locket at her neck, her wide eyes full of fear. Ethan walked to the front door, pausing momentarily with his hand on the knob. Taking a deep breath, he opened it. Lorraine stood on the porch, flanked by two men in dark suits. Her once elegant face was now etched with exhaustion and fierce determination. "It's over, James," she said, her voice cold. "Hand over the locket and the children, and no one gets hurt." Ethan blocked the entrance with his body. "I think we have a lot to discuss, Lorraine. Why don't you come in alone?" Lorraine's eyes narrowed as she assessed the situation. After a tense moment, she signaled her henchman to step back. 5 minutes, she conceded. Once inside, Ethan led Lorraine to the library. Abby was already there, having hidden the children in a safe room. "Enough games," Lorraine began, her voice trembling slightly. "You have no idea what you're dealing with." "That locket has a power beyond our understanding," Ethan interrupted. "It's the key to some kind of portal during the convergence." Lorraine went pale, clearly shocked they knew so much. Ethan pressed his advantage. "We know about the Blackwood legacy, Lorraine. We know Eleanor chose Ashley, not you. What we don't know is why you'd harm an innocent child over it." Lorraine's composure began to crack. She collapsed into an armchair, looking suddenly very old and tired. "You don't understand," she murmured. "That locket was mine by right. I am a Blackwood, by blood." Abby leaned forward, her voice surprisingly gentle. "Why don't you tell us everything, Lorraine?" "The truth this time?" Lorraine gazed at them for a long moment, as though weighing her options. Finally, with a deep sigh, she began. "Eleanor and I, we were very close when we were young. We grew up knowing the locket's power, the legacy we carried. But Eleanor was always the favorite, the chosen one. When the time came to pass on the locket, I was certain it would be my turn." She paused, bitterness creeping into her voice. Then Ashley arrived. A girl from nowhere, no family connection. Yet Eleanor chose her, said the locket called to her? Ridiculous. Ethan and Abby listened intently, the last pieces of the puzzle finally snapping into place. "I couldn't accept it," Lorraine continued. "I spent years planning, waiting for the right moment. When I learned the convergence was near, I knew it was my last chance." "What about the baby?" Abby asked softly. "You claim to be the grandmother." Lorraine looked genuinely ashamed. "A lie. I thought it would be easier to take the children if I pretended to be a concerned relative. The truth is, I have no idea who the baby's father is." Ethan leaned in, his gaze locked on Lorraine. "What about Ashley? What happened to her?" Silence, thick with unspoken guilt, blanketed the room. At last, Lorraine spoke in a near whisper. "She's alive!" The revelation hit like a bomb. Abby gasped, while Ethan jumped to his feet. "Where?" he demanded. Lorraine looked away. "In a private clinic, a few hours from here. She had an accident." "An accident you caused," Ethan accused, his voice harsh. Lorraine didn't deny it. "I just wanted the locket. She wasn't supposed to be hurt so badly. When I realized what I'd done, I panicked. I hid her in that clinic, kept her in a medically induced coma." Abby stood, horrified. How could you? She has a daughter." "I know," Lorraine screamed, tears finally streaming down her face. "I know, and I regret it every single day. But I can't turn back now. You don't understand what's at stake." Ethan approached Lorraine, his voice dangerously calm. "Then explain it to us. What exactly is at stake?" Fear shone in Lorraine's eyes. "The convergence isn't just a mystical event, it's an opportunity. The locket? It can open doors to other worlds, other realities. Imagine the power, the knowledge we could gain, or the horrors we could unleash," Abby muttered. Lorraine nodded reluctantly. "Yes, there are risks. That's why the locket has always been protected, passed from guardian to guardian. But in the right hands—" "You mean your hands?" Ethan cut in, disgust lacing his voice. Before Lorraine could reply, a piercing cry broke the tension. "Lily May!" Ethan and Abby rushed out of the library, Lorraine trailing behind. In the living room, they found one of Lorraine's henchmen holding Lily May, who struggled desperately. Another man clutched the baby. "Let them go!" Ethan roared, charging forward. But the man restraining Lily May pulled out a gun, pressing it to her head. "Not another step," he snarled. Lorraine looked genuinely shocked. "What are you doing? This wasn't part of the plan." The man laughed coldly. "Plans change, Ms. Blackwood. Our employers are tired of waiting. The locket now, or the girl dies." Time seemed to freeze. Ethan and Abby stood helpless, horror-stricken. Lorraine's gaze darted from Lily May to the henchman, torn between her own obsession and the child's life. Then something extraordinary occurred. The locket around Lily May's neck began to glow, a bright light flooding the room. The men shouted, dropping the children and covering their eyes. Amid the chaos, Ethan grabbed Lily May and the baby, pulling them to safety. Abby quickly positioned herself between them and the attackers. When the light dimmed, the men in suits were gone, as though they had never been there. Lorraine stood kneeling, staring at Lily May with a mixture of fear and awe. "The locket," she whispered. "It really chose her." Ethan held Lily May protectively, meeting Lorraine's gaze. "It's over," he said firmly. "No more lies, no more games. You're taking us to Ashley. Then you're leaving our lives forever." Defeated and seemingly aged decades in minutes, Lorraine nodded slowly. "Yes," she murmured. "Yes, it's over." As the storm finally broke outside, those inside Blackwood Manor prepared to set out on a journey that could reunite a family long separated and perhaps, finally, bring peace to the turbulent legacy they carried. The truth had been revealed, but the consequences of that truth were still unfolding. With the convergence looming and the locket's power more evident than ever, the future remained uncertain. Yet, for the first time in a while, a glimmer of hope appeared on the horizon. The hallway of the private hospital seemed endless. Ethan, Abby, and Lily May walked in silence, their footsteps echoing off the sterile white walls. Lorraine followed, flanked by 2 police officers, her expression a mask of remorse and resignation. At last, they reached the indicated room. Ethan hesitated, hand on the doorknob, looking down at Lily May. The girl clutched the locket, her eyes full of hope and fear. "Are you ready?" he asked gently. Lily May nodded, unable to speak. The door opened, revealing a scene forever seared into their memories. Ashley, pale and fragile but undeniably alive, sat upright in her bed, blinking in confusion at the light. "Mommy!" Lily May screamed, rushing into Ashley's arms. The sound of her daughter's voice seemed to awaken something in Ashley. Her eyes focused, tears rolling down her cheeks as she embraced Lily May with all the strength her weakened body could muster. "My baby," she whispered, her voice raspy from disuse. "My sweet Lily May." Not a single dry eye remained in the room. Even the officers looked moved. While mother and daughter reunited, the doctors explained to Ethan and Abby the miracle they had witnessed. Against all odds, Ashley had awakened from her medically induced coma the moment Lily May's locket lit up at the manor. "It's as though something called her back," one of the doctors remarked, baffled. Ethan glanced at the locket, still glowing softly around Lily May's neck. How many more secrets did this object hold? As the hours passed and Ashley regained more awareness, she began to fill in the missing pieces of the story. "The baby," she said, looking at the child in Abby's arms. "He's not mine, as you must have guessed." Ethan nodded, encouraging her to continue. Ashley took a deep breath before revealing, "He's Eleanor's baby." That bombshell dropped onto the room with startling impact. Lorraine, standing nearby, gasped audibly. "But how?" Abby asked, gazing at the baby with new eyes. Ashley explained, "Eleanor discovered she was pregnant shortly before she died. She knew she wouldn't survive childbirth and asked me to protect the child. The baby, he's special, just like Lily May." Ethan began to understand. The Blackwood legacy. It's not just the locket, it's the blood. Ashley nodded. "Exactly. Eleanor knew Lorraine would do anything to gain the locket's power. She trusted me to protect both the pendant and the family's future." Lorraine, who had been silent, looked devastated. I didn't know," she murmured. "If I had known the baby was Eleanor's—" "You would have done what?" Ethan asked harshly. "Given up your obsessive quest for power?" Lorraine lowered her head, speechless. Ashley continued, describing how she discovered Lorraine's plans and tried to complete the protection ritual the night of the accident. "I almost succeeded," she said, squeezing Lily May's hand. "But Lorraine arrived before I could finish. There was a struggle, and, well, you know the rest." The police officers, who had heard everything, stepped forward. "Ms. Blackwood," one announced, "you're under arrest for attempted homicide and fraud, cuffing Lorraine." Lorraine offered no resistance as they led her away. She cast one final look at Ashley and Lily May. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "For everything." With Lorraine gone, attention shifted back to Ashley and the children. The baby, as though sensing the importance of the moment, began to cry. Ashley extended her arms, and Abby gently placed the child in her lap. "Hello, little one," Ashley murmured, tears in her eyes. "I'm so sorry it took me so long to come back for you." Lily May snuggled up beside her mother, one hand on the baby, the other holding the locket. "We're together now," she said simply. Ethan and Abby watched, feeling they were witnessing something truly extraordinary. The Blackwood legacy, so full of secrets and dangers, had found its rightful guardians. "What now?" Abby asked Ethan in a low voice. He smiled, feeling a genuine sense of hope for the first time in days. "Now we protect them, and we prepare for whatever the convergence brings." As the sun set outside the hospital window, casting a golden glow over the scene, a sense of peace and purpose filled the room. The secrets were out, the lies exposed. The road ahead remained uncertain, with the convergence approaching and the locket's mysteries still to be unveiled. But with Ashley back, Lily May stepping into her role as heir to the Blackwood legacy, and Eleanor's baby safe, there was a sense that whatever came next, they would face it together. Night settled over the city, but within that hospital room a new light had dawned, a light of hope, family, and a future that, while challenging, promised to be extraordinary. Autumn had arrived at Blackwood Manor, painting the garden trees in shades of red and gold. The crisp air carried promises of new beginnings, echoing the changes in the lives of its occupants over the last few months. Ethan stood on the porch watching Ashley push Lily May on a newly installed swing, while the baby, now nearly a year old, crawled on the soft grass under Abby's watchful eye. The sight of domestic bliss was a stark contrast to the turbulent events that had brought them all together. Smiling, Ethan descended the steps to join the little gathering in the yard. He carried a folder of documents. "It's all set," he announced, handing the folder to Ashley. "The manor and all Blackwood properties are now officially under your 3 names." Ashley took the papers reverently, tears shining in her eyes. "James, I don't know how to thank you for everything you've done." Ethan shook his head gently, interrupting. There's nothing to thank. This is your home, your legacy. It always was. Lily May, who had joined them, looked curiously at the documents. What does that mean, Mommy? Ashley knelt to Lily May's level, a soft smile on her lips. It means, my love, that this is officially our home now. Yours, mine, and little Samuel's. Lily May's eyes widened. Samuel? Is that the baby's name? Ashley nodded. Yes, it was Eleanor's father's name. I thought it would be a lovely tribute. Ethan watched as Lily May processed this, her small face serious with concentration. So Samuel is my little brother now? Yes, sweetheart, Ashley confirmed, pulling Lily May into a hug. We're a family, you, me, and Samuel. And even though he's not my child by blood, I love him as if he were, just like Eleanor loved me. Lily May touched the locket at her neck, now clean and shining in the sunlight. Is that why the locket chose me? Because we're a family? Abby, who had come closer with Samuel in her arms, smiled at the girl. The locket recognized the love and courage in your heart, Lily May, just like Eleanor saw those qualities in your mom. Lily May seemed to reflect on this before smiling, her face lighting up. Then I'll be the best big sister in the world for Samuel. Everyone laughed, the sound of joy echoing through the once silent yard. Clearing his throat, Ethan drew their attention. There's one more thing, he said, sounding a bit nervous. I bought the house next door. Ashley looked surprised. You're moving in next door? He nodded. If that's okay with you. I feel I still have a part to play here. As a protector, as a friend, as family. Abby added, placing a hand on her brother's shoulder. Ashley smiled, tears of gratitude in her eyes. Nothing would make us happier. The two of you, she glanced at Abby, are part of this family now. The circle has grown. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the property, the group headed back inside the manor. The old structure, once filled with shadows and secrets, now seemed warm and alive. In the living room, now adorned with photos of their new extended family, Ashley gathered everyone for a toast. To family, she said, raising her glass. To those here and to those guiding us from elsewhere. To family, they all echoed. Later that night, with Samuel finally asleep in his makeshift crib and Lily May tucked into bed after a day of excitement, Ashley found Ethan in the library. You know, she said quietly, gazing at the shelves filled with old volumes, there's still so much we don't understand about the locket, about the convergence. Ethan nodded sympathetically. True, but now we have time, and more importantly, we have each other. Ashley smiled, picking up one of Eleanor's journals. She always wrote about the power of love, how it was the real magic behind all this. I think I'm just beginning to understand what she meant. Love brought us this far, Ethan agreed, and it will lead us forward, no matter what the future holds. Outside, a full moon shone over the property, bathing it in silver light. The locket, resting on Lily May's sleeping chest, glimmered faintly, as though responding to a distant call. The days that followed brought a comfortable routine to Blackwood Manor. Mornings were filled with children's laughter and the aroma of fresh coffee. Afternoons saw Lily May and Samuel playing in the garden under Ashley's watchful eye, while Ethan and Abby often joined them for casual lunches or family dinners. The library, once a place of hidden fears, became a haven of learning. Ashley spent hours there, poring over Eleanor's journals and deciphering the manor's more mysterious documents with help from Ethan and Abby. Lily May, always curious, frequently joined them, absorbing stories of past generations and the true significance of her role as the locket's guardian. By nightfall, when the manor grew quiet, it wasn't unusual to find them all gathered in the living room. Abby would share stories in her soft voice, lulling Samuel to sleep. Ethan and Ashley would discuss plans for the future, plans for protecting and nurturing the legacy they now shared. and Lily May, curled up on the rug with a fairy tale book, would occasionally glance around in awe at the family she'd found. Blackwood Manor, once symbolic of secrets and sorrow, felt transformed. Its walls, which had echoed with whispers of conspiracy and ancient fears, now resonated with laughter and gentle words. Dark corridors gave way to inviting spaces, adorned with photographs and mementos of happier moments. The locket, still mysterious in many respects, seemed less like a burden and more like a blessing. Its faint glow was a constant reminder of Eleanor's love, Ashley's courage, and Lily May's innocence, all linked by a legacy of protection and care. Though the convergence still loomed on the horizon, an event they would one day have to confront, there was a growing sense that together they could face any challenge. The protection circle, both literal and figurative, had been fortified by the love and trust that now filled the manor. And so, Blackwood Manor entered a new era, one of love, forgiveness, and fresh starts. In this era, the past secrets became guides for the future rather than burdens. In this era, a family connected not only by blood but by choice and destiny would stand ready for whatever lay ahead, united and strong.